Good morning, girls. In the last class, we learnt about the nature of state as described in the preamble of our constitution. We learnt that our state, our country is a sovereign, socialist, secular, and a democratic republic. And we also discussed about the meaning of these terms, meaning of each of these terms. Today, we'll be talking about the objectives of our constitution. Objectives of the Constitution. The preamble to the Constitution of India has summarized its objectives as follows. So, in the preamble, we have a summary of the objectives which are described in the Constitution. In the Constitution, what all is described, a summary of those objectives are described in the preamble. So, we'll discuss each of this in detail. The first one is justice. The preamble provides for political, social, and economic justice. So, justice means it is a rule of law. It means that everyone, every person, every citizen is given equal rights, freedom, and opportunities. There is equal rights, freedom, and opportunities for every citizen in the country. So, that's the meaning of justice. And in justice, there is a political, social, and economic justice. So, we'll learn about each of these in detail. The first one is the political justice. Political justice implies that all the citizens of the country possess equal opportunities to participate in the political process. So in our country is a democratic republic. That is, the people elect their representatives who rule the country. So here it is not practical that every person, every citizen in the country stands in an election, gets elected, becomes a leader, becomes a minister. It's not possible for every citizen to become a minister or a leader. So what they do is they can participate in the political process. That is, they can elect, they can give their votes, they can cast their votes, and they can elect their representatives. In this way, they can become a part of the political process. So political justice, it shows that it implies that every citizen has a right to participate in the political process. As stated earlier, this is done through universal adult franchise, under which every adult citizen of 18 years and above has a right to vote. So we discussed about the universal adult franchise, which states that every person, every citizen who's 18 or above the age of 18 has a right to vote. So this is the political justice. Now the next one is the social justice. Social justice implies that all the citizens are equal in the eyes of law and no discrimination is made on the basis of caste, creed, race, religion, and sex. So social justice, it means that every citizen, every person in the country is equal before the law. Every citizen is equal before law, and there is no discrimination. No person, no citizen is discriminated on the basis of caste, creed, race, religion, and sex. Discrimination on the basis of caste means you cannot discriminate a person saying that he belongs to a lower caste or the other belongs to a higher class. There is no discrimination on the basis of caste. Then creed means you cannot discriminate a person on the basis of his faith or his belief. Then race means on the basis of his tradition. Religion on the basis of his religion, whichever follow, he has a right to follow his own religion, and you cannot discriminate a person on the basis of the religion that he follows. And sex, you cannot discriminate a person on the basis of his sex, means like a person is female or male or transgender, whatever it is, whatever the sex might be, you cannot discriminate the person on the basis of that sex. So this is about social justice. Now the next is economic justice. Economic justice means fair distribution of resources amongst all those who contribute towards its production. So every country will have certain resources, and for the improvement, for the development of these resources, many people are contributing, many people are involved in the development of these resources. So economic justice means that there must be equal distribution of these resources to every person who has contributed, who is involved in that process of its production. This can be achieved by enhancing national wealth and resources, by creating more employment opportunities, and thereby bridging the gap between the rich and the poor. The constitution tells that the gap between the rich and the poor, there's a gap between rich and poor. This gap can be filled in by improving the national wealth and resources, by increasing the national wealth, by increasing the national resources. Then by creating more employment opportunities. More employment opportunities has to be provided so that every person is employed, every individual, every citizen in the country is employed through this process. So in this way, the gap between the rich and the poor can be filled, and then we can bring economic justice in the country. The next one is equality. In a democracy, all are equal before law, and there is no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, color, sex, religion, and economic status. So equality means that in our country, in a democratic country like India, every individual, every citizen is equal before law, and there is no discrimination. No individual is discriminated on the basis of caste. You cannot discriminate on the basis of caste, like upper class, lower class. No discrimination is existing in our country. Then on the basis of his creed, means there is no discrimination on the basis of his belief or on the basis of his faith. Then color, you cannot discriminate a person on the basis of his color. You cannot discriminate he's dark or he's brown or he's fair. Such discrimination is not possible. Then on the basis of his sex, like female, male, transgender, many sexes are there. So you cannot discriminate on the person on the basis of his sex, religion, and economic status. You cannot discriminate a person telling that he is economically well to do and the other person that he is very poor. No discrimination on the basis of economic status exists in our country. Equality is ensured by providing equal opportunities for all-round development. How do we make sure that the country is practicing equality? There is equality in the country. We make sure that the country is equal. The country treats every person equal by giving equal opportunities to every citizen. Every citizen in the country has equal opportunity, and by this process we can make it is ensured that everyone is treated equal. All the citizens of India are treated equally before law and are ensured equal protection. So every citizen in the country, every person in the country is treated equal, is equal before the law, and also he is ensured, he is given equal protection from the law. So that's about equality. Now fraternity. A democracy is fruitful when the spirit of brotherhood prevails amongst its people. So a democracy is only effective. It is effective only when there is the spirit of brotherhood. Only when we start treating others as our brother, as our fellow beings. Only when we start treating them as our fellow beings, a democracy becomes fruitful. A democracy becomes effective. The preamble to our constitution encourages all Indians to treat their fellow beings in the spirit of brotherhood. So the preamble, our preamble, it encourages, it inspires every individual to treat all Indians, to treat other Indians as our brothers, as our fellow beings. So that is the meaning of fraternity. Now the next is liberty. The preamble implies that in a democracy, citizens should have certain fundamental rights. So according to the preamble, every citizen in the country should have certain basic rights. Fundamental rights mean certain basic rights. These basic rights are necessary for a free and civilized existence. Now these basic rights, these fundamental rights are very important, because if we have to lead a socially and culturally developed life in the country, we need these basic rights. These basic rights are very important to lead a free and a culturally and socially developed life. Indian citizens are given freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. So every citizen in the country has the freedom of thought, of expression, belief, faith, and worship. He has a freedom to express his thought, his belief, his faith, and his worship. So these are the objectives of the Constitution. Now on page 104 we have the preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political. So, justice means it has to be social, economic, and political justice. Then, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship means there must be freedom of thought, of expression, of belief, faith, and worship. Then equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all. So there must be equality of status. Everyone must have equal status and equal opportunity in the country. Then to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. And there must be a sense of fraternity, a sense of brotherhood in the country, so that every individual has a worth and we can bring in unity and integrity in the country. Integrity means it means having very strong moral principles. So in the country we can bring unity and strong moral principles through this sense of fraternity. So these are these terms: justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. These terms, they show the objectives of the Constitution, and these terms, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, describe about the nature of a state. So now we have learnt about every term in the preamble. Now that's all for today, girls. Thank you.